We have a major trade report, and this is genuinely insane, and it's so insane, maybe it just might work, guys. We've talked about him a lot. We know how talented he is playing for the Atlanta Hawks. We haven't made a video on him just yet in this offseason, so I figured what better way or what better time to do it than now and today, guys. We are obviously talking about Trae Young to the Orlando Magic. What are the possibilities? Does this make sense for the Hawks? Does it make sense for the Orlando Magic? And is this just a pipe dream that will never come to fruition? Trae Young been rumored to be on the block or potentially be a Magic trade target for it feels like a handful of years now since we've had this channel here at Magic Digest. So we're going to get all into it today, guys. Welcome into the channel. This is Magic Digest, as I've mentioned. I'm your host, Patrick Previty. This is your one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball content here on YouTube. Now, if you're watching this video, hopefully you're subscribed. Hopefully you're part of the 30% that is. But if you're not and you're part of the 70%, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It is the easiest and best way to support us here at Magic Digest. Now, we're going to be getting into a ton of different draft scenarios as the draft gets closer. We're going to be talking a little bit about Jace Richardson tomorrow. That'll be the slotted video for Monday. But as of right now, I felt like I didn't want to leave any stone left unturned, and that would be Trae Young as the final domino to fall. So where am I getting this from? As always, I will link the article down below, originally posted on Orlando Magic on SI. This screenshot comes from Yardbreaker. Massive mock trade links Orlando Magic with Trae Young. The Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks experienced disappointing finishes to their seasons last year. As a result, they could make franchise-altering changes. Now, these are two teams that played in the play-in last season. Cole Anthony had that amazing game. The Magic's season was more so due to injuries. I would say the Atlanta Hawks certainly missed not having Jalen Johnson at the very end of the year, but what was the ceiling for that team? Is it something that is still growing? I feel like they had a lot of really good players this season that were able to make big jumps. But what does their ceiling look like? Maybe it's a little bit lower, I would say, than the Orlando Magic as of right now. Both teams stay put. But still, both teams did not finish exactly where they wanted to or where they were potentially expecting to be at towards the beginning of the year. So in this deal, the Magic receive Trae Young, role player, 27 second round. Hawks receive Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, Bataze, who would also be, mentioned as just a role player. They get the 25 first, the 27 first, and the 29 first round pick swap. So we're not going to get too much into the details about what exactly could be packaged along with Trae Young, and that was the reason that I just mentioned that in that way, calling him just a role player, just because it doesn't really matter in a sense. This trade is for Trae Young from the Orlando Magic perspective, and whatever could be added to that isn't really that big of a deal. Okay, so why would the Hawks end up doing this? I think it's probably the first question that a lot of people would ask. Is that enough for the Hawks? Is that return good? Well, Suggs is only 23 years old. While he's had injuries, is still a very good player, has improved from year to year. We have seen this. We feel like he could be a player that is here in Orlando long term, but for the Atlanta Hawks, he kind of fits what they might want to do. They might not want to get another defensive guard, but he fits kind of what they're building, and he's a guy who averaged 16 points last year. He's on a $30 million per year contract, so while he is expensive, he's cheaper than Trae Young, and he could potentially continue to grow. If he could stay healthy, I think he can end up being a guy who's a fringe 20 points per game scorer, better passer, and then second team, first team, all defense. I think that is a really solid piece that they could get back from Trae Young, and they would potentially not really be losing too much sleep. I think this trade is really interesting because it also includes Anthony Black, and I definitely think that this is a definite yes from the Atlanta Hawks if they do end up getting a deal like this, because you pair Anthony Black, who is younger than Jalen Suggs. I just talked about how young Jalen Suggs is. And then you have a 25 first, 27 first, and a 29 pick swap. They're getting younger. They can start their rebuild. They're looking towards the future. They got a couple guys already in place, and they can just pretty much hit the ground running. We saw Anthony Black take a step last year, maybe more so in the postseason than actually in the regular season. He was really, really good and reliable against the Boston Celtics. So you have a guy who can come off the bench, be a solid role player, and then you have your starting defensive-oriented point guard, and then you have 3 picks that are going to be higher than what you would have in general, or maybe just right around there somewhere in the first round. 25 and 27 are pick swap. So, but you get the 29 pick swap, and then who knows how this would all turn out for Orlando. Maybe injuries do occur, and then you get 25 first, 25 or 27 first, and you make deal with that. I think the Atlanta Hawks would say yes to this. Why would the Orlando Magic agree to this? Well, I don't really want to give up guys like Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs. I think it would have to be one or the other in this sort of deal, but if you look at how the salary cap is right now, I definitely think it has to be recognized that for this to happen realistically, you would have to probably give up Jalen Suggs. I think that that's a given. And then are you going to be able to invest the minutes and everything else into Anthony Black? So maybe you end up trading him for that, for a deal like this, making sure it can really happen, and then you get your big three. Now, I've seen you guys in the comment section below. I saw one that really stood out to me, and it was that big threes don't work anymore. With the salary cap and everything that's going on and the new collective bargaining agreement, I'd have to agree with the way that you are potentially not able to build your team if you have three superstars. I get it, but to have Trae Young, Franz Wagner, and Paolo Banchero, who I believe would pretty much cement themselves into the best big three, at least in the Eastern Conference next year, I think that that's a move that you really strongly consider. Now, can you build the rest of your roster? I think you got to figure it out. If you're a good front office, you got to be able to make some moves. Do I like giving up Bataze in this deal as well? Definitely not. I mean, I would love to keep some front court presence as well. I already feel like we're kind of thin there, at least scoring wise, but if this deal were to be done, this puts this team into a position where I feel like they're a lot more comfortable at the very top of the East. If this team makes it to the second or third round next year with Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, Franz, Paulo, all the usual suspects, how far do we think that they can get? Do I think they can beat a Pacers team or a Knicks team? I mean, with the way that they were playing this past year, I'd have some questions. I definitely think they can compete, but if they were to add Trae Young, I think that they immediately become one of the prohibitive favorites to get out of the East and make it to the NBA Finals. This next year is completely wide open for everybody in the Eastern Conference, and I think that that is something that is really positive, and, you know, it's got to be a reason why this front office would end up making this deal. So, in that long story short, while you're giving up some of your young assets, your point guards, you have to do it for your cap, and you would be putting yourself into a position where you are one of the favorites to get out of the Eastern Conference, make it to the NBA Finals, and by that point, you're playing the Thunder and some other Western Conference team that's making it out. Maybe you're playing the Spurs, who knows? And you're playing one of those teams, and you got a shot. It's best of 7. You got one series. You got to win 4 games. You can do what you got to do. Maybe somebody goes off, and I think you have a lot more potential with that. We know this team's struggle last year was offense. Trae Young solves it. Yes, he's expensive, but how much better are you going to be able to get than that big three in this NBA? I don't really think that there's any out there that would actually be able to compete. I think in a lot of sense, I get it. It's not 2K. It's not one of those deals that you definitely would say is going to happen, should happen. Yes, mortgage the future. I get it. It's scary, but, you know, your future would be now. And I think that that's already the feeling that this team has. And Trae Young has shown that he can play in the playoffs, and there's not actually a lot of question marks, I think, with that sort of deal. I think it's just, can you fill out the rest of the roster? And you should still be able to do that if you're a good front office, or I like that position more than trying to find a guy who can truly be a third on a championship team or a second on a championship team. That feels like a lot worse of a situation to be in than to try to fill out the rest of your roster after having a big three, especially a big three of this age, and that is a little bit younger. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Always love hearing from you guys. Love seeing what you guys think about this trade. I definitely think I'm on the Trae Young bandwagon. If you could get it, you do it, and if that's the price, you know, maybe that's the price. But obviously wouldn't want to give up both Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs, but is what it is. Want to keep Anthony Black in that sort of scenario. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Would you do a deal like this? What would you do for Trae Young to potentially come to Orlando? Or is it just completely off the table? Love to hear it, guys. And as always, I'll see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.